Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Nandalala, Yadu Nandalala, Vrindavana Govinda Lala. Nandalala, Yadu Nandalala, Vrindavana Govinda Lala. Radha Lola Nandalala, Radha Lola Nandalala, Radha Madhava Nandalala, Radha Madhava Nandalala, Nandalala, Yadu Nandalala, Vrindavana Govinda Lala. Nandalala, Yadu Nandalala, Vrindavana Govinda Lala. Radha Lola Nandalala, Radha Lola Nandalala, Radha Madhava Nandalala, Radha Madhava Nandalala, Nandalala, Yadu Nandalala, Vrindavana Govinda Lala. Nandalala, Yadu Nandalala, Vrindavana Govinda Lala. Radha Lola Nandalala, Radha Lola Nandalala, Radha Madhava Nandalala, Lola Nanda Lala Radha Madhava Nanda Lala Radha Madhava Nanda Lala Nanda Lala Yadu Nanda Lala Vrindavana Govinda Lala Nanda Lala Yadu Nanda Lala Vrindavana Govinda Lala Radha Lola Nanda Lala Radha Lola Nanda Lala Radha Madhava Nanda Lala Radha Madhava Nanda Lala Nanda Lala Yadu Nanda Lala Vrindavana Govinda Lala Nanda Lala Yadu Nanda Lala Vrindavana Govinda Lala Radha Lola Nanda Lala Radha Lola Nanda Lala Radha Madhava Nanda Lala Radha Madhava Nanda Lala Nanda Lala Yadu Nanda Lala Vrindavana Govinda Lala Nanda Lala Yadu Nanda Lala Vrindavana Govinda Lala Radha Lola Nanda Lala Radha Lola Nanda Lala Radha Madhava Nanda Lala Radha Madhava Nanda Lala Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Govinda Narayana Gopala Narayana Govinda Govinda Narayana, Govinda Govinda Narayana, Govinda Gopala Narayana, Govinda Gopala Narayana, Govinda Gopala Narayana, Govinda Gopala Narayana, Govinda Govinda Narayana, Govinda Govinda Narayana, Govinda Govinda Narayana, Govinda Nanda Narayana, Govinda Nanda Narayana, Hari Govinda Nanda Narayana, Hari Govinda Nanda Narayana, Govinda Narayana, Gopala Narayana, Govinda Narayana, Gopala Narayana, Govinda Narayana, Gopala Narayana, Govinda Narayana, Gopala Narayana, Govinda Govinda Narayana, Govinda Govinda Narayana, Govinda Govinda Narayana, Govinda Govinda Narayana, Govinda Gopala Narayana, Govinda Gopala Narayana, Govinda Gopala Narayana, Govinda Govinda Narayana, Govinda Govinda Narayana, Govinda Nanda Narayana, Hari Govinda Nanda Narayana, Govinda Narayana, Gopala Narayana, Govinda Narayana, Gopala Narayana, Govinda Narayana, Gopala Narayana, Govinda Narayana, Gopala Narayana, Govinda Govinda Narayana, Govinda Govinda Narayana, Govinda Gopala Narayana, Govinda Gopala Narayana.
Hi, welcome to the Mystical Paths of the World's Religions. You may have joined us last month when we talked about Christianity, Buddhism, and Hinduism, and they were all based on a lecture series by Elizabeth Clare Prophet. Now tonight, we will be focusing on Hinduism. We will be clarifying some terminology, some Hindu terminology, and how it relates to Ascended Masters' teachings. We will also be taking from Elizabeth Clare Prophet's lecture based on the title, The Inner Path of Hinduism. Now, we just want to remind everyone that we also wrote a book together called The Orthodox Christian Conspiracy, How Church Fathers Suppressed Original Gnostic Christianity. Okay, I think we could start in. All righty. Hinduism, the oldest religion on earth. What is the foundation of Hinduism? Well, we know that Hinduism is a very complex religion, so tonight we're only going to be touching on certain aspects, main teachings. But the very basis of the Hindu religion is the Vedas, the Upanishads, the Bhagavad Gita, the Puranas, which means very old and very ancient, and of course the two epics, the Mahabharata and the Ramayana. I'd like to quote from the Kaival Upanishad, "That which is Supreme Brahman, the Self, the great support of the universe, subtler than subtle, eternal, that alone thou art. That thou art sums up the inner path of Hinduism, and that is Tat Tvam Asi. Later we will be chanting these wonderful statements of our own being. Another part of Hinduism goes back to the Om, which is a sound, a primordial sound, but this is found in the Upanishads. The Om is the essence of ultimate reality. But the effect of chanting the Om, the very effective chanting the Om, must be experienced, and we will be experiencing that during the course of this presentation. So Brahman, the wonderful Brahman, the supreme reality, the one pervading consciousness, that is the very essence of the inner path of Hinduism. When we sound the Om, as we will be doing, the soul, or the jiva, J-I-V-A, is actually repolarized to Brahman, to the point of origin in the great central sun. So, the principal idea in Hindu mysticism is that Atman, the self, dwells in the lotus of the heart. Now, the Ascended Masters call the lotus of the heart the secret chamber of the heart. So Atman in the heart and Brahman, the supreme reality, are one.
So
Profound.
it's amazing. That teaching right there.
Yeah.
If you comprehend that, you have the very essence of Hindu mysticism. Now, I'd like to put up some charts from the Ascended Masters, and this is the chart of your divine self. Of course, it's two-dimensional, but you can visualize the upper figure there as three-dimensional. So last time we talked about these charts, and if you can see, the middle figure in one is represented by Jesus. The other one is represented by Gautama, the Buddha. And the third one is represented by Vishnu. Now, Vishnu, as the universal Christ, personifies himself as either Jesus, Gautama, Ram, or Krishna. And it's very important to have someone whereby you can have a personal relationship with Vishnu through either Krishna, Ram, Gautama, or Buddha. And this is how you start to begin a relationship, very personal, as you chant to these beings who are, in a sense, in a very practical and real sense, they are God men. And if you bond to them, you are bonding to what was just spoken about, to the Atman.
Yeah.
And so today, however, we are going to focus more on the Hindu chart, which shows Vishnu in the middle. We can put that one up. And so at the top, the very top figure is always known as the I Am Presence, according to Ascended Master terminology. And in Hinduism, it would be the Param Atman. The middle figure is then the mediator, the Atman, the son of Vishnu. And this is where the heart containing the threefold flame is. Now, did you want to say something about the threefold flame?
Yes, I did want to show the threefold flame. You see the lower figure, and you can't quite see it right now, but very in the middle of the lower figure, which is the evolving soul or the jiva, there is a threefold flame. We should have a close-up, and here it is. This threefold flame is very precious because it's an actual fire. It is not symbolical. And Brahma would be the blue, Vishnu would be the yellow, and Shiva would be the pink. Now, it's also very good as you meditate and as you visualize this threefold flame, you see it in your mind's eye. You can also place the images of Brahma, Vishnu, and Shiva. Brahma, Vishnu, and Shiva can be placed in those flames for the purposes of meditation, because you see, you become the embodiment of the Hindu Trinity. You become the embodiment of the Trinity.
That's amazing, that they're anchored in the heart flame of everyone.
Yes.
That has this heart
Yes.
flame.
And this is the astounding nature of the inner path of Hinduism.
So we're going to go a little bit more into the soul and the self. And there is easily a misunderstanding, a misinterpretation of what the self and the soul is. So I think that we were going to you were going to read from something.
Yes, I'm going to read from something. Just showing the Atman is self, soul is Jiva. So we'll now have that reading. Hand me that book. Thank you. This is an amazing teaching, an absolutely amazing teaching. This is a book called The Chila and the Path by the Master Moria, the Ascended Master El Moria. He speaks about the origin of what we call the soul. But first he says, there is a portion of the self that is immutable. That portion of selfhood that is the permanent atom of being is called the I Am Presence, which we have seen. It is the monad of self suspended in the planes of spirit. It is the Godhead individualized as a living flame, as a point of consciousness, as a sphere of identity. It is God, your God self.
It's amazing.
Now, he asks, what portion of the Infinite One has been realized in the immediate force field of that which you call yourself? The seed of this self, of course, had to come from the great God self. There is no other source from whence it could come. Cycling through the spheres of the great monad of life. Now, those spheres are the color spheres of the causal body, which has been also called the Anandamaya Kosha, which simply means the sheath of bliss, body of bliss. Cycling through the spheres of the great monad of light, the seed of self gathers threads of light. Woven and wound about the point of awareness, it builds an energy field. And get this, the seed becomes a soul born out of spirit's own union with life. Now, soul, right? S. Spirit. S from spirit. Spirit's own, O. Union, U. With life, L. That's soul.
Now that's a huge revelation right there. Soul actually means spirit's own union with life. Are you reading more?
Of course I'm reading.
No,
You're not getting
I'll get
tired.
a word in edgewise eventually, but go
Are you
ahead.
getting tired?
I'll finish
Are
the
you
quote. You finish the quote.
And the soul is a miniature sun revolving about the central sun of universal being. Now, these statements are given by Master Moria so that we can contemplate them. So here we have the soul, but what happened to the soul? It started as a beautiful emanation from the I Am Presence, but where did it end up?
Right.
But I want to stress also Moria's definition of God. He says, the constant that is God is a constantly self-transcending energy field. He also states that the soul is infused with the germinal seed to become ruler of a cosmos. So the soul is a seed that eventually become ruler of a cosmos. That's the goal of the soul. That's the goal of evolution. So did you want to talk about what happens to the soul?
Yeah, this is an extremely important point here about the soul, because now you know the origins of the soul. But if we see the soul as a sphere of light energy consciousness, and it descended as we had just said, it now goes into the frequencies of matter. But the soul is spirit. So it needs vehicles of expression. The soul has to express itself. So it takes on what is known in Ascended Master terminology as 4 lower bodies. I know you're taking care of this body, and now you're going to have 3 others to worry about. And ladies, the other 3 bodies out there, you do never have to put on a diet. Just deal with the physical one. So the 4 lower bodies slowly weave themselves around the soul. So we'll start with the etheric. First, it puts on an etheric sheath, and the soul slowly integrates with the etheric. And that is the highest body, and we say high because of its vibratory rate. And this is the vibration of the electron moving about the atom and the spin of the electron itself. That frequency, depending on its rate and how fast it is vibrating, gives you the various levels of matter. So we're talking about ethereal matter for the etheric envelope that enfolds the soul. The next one down in vibration, and again, we're not up or down, it's just a frequency
Vibration,
lowering.
yeah.
You have now the mental body. And the mind, it was meant for the mind of God to integrate with the soul. That's the next sheath. The next sheath down after that would be the emotional body. The emotional body is energy in motion, emotions, the energy in motion. It's like water, and it does relate to the water element. So you know when your emotional body is out of whack because it's a movement, and it could be intense, or it could be as calm as an ocean, or as tense as a storm on an ocean. We know what that's like.
That's true.
And then you have the obvious physical body,
Yes.
which is quite dense. It doesn't go through things, and it hits against stuff. Like, see,
Yeah,
you can't
it's like
do
that.
much with it. The other bodies, however, are of a very fine matter. So the soul integrates with all of these bodies, and it meshes through the 7 major chakras in the body. Now, what happens is that when the soul descends into matter, or mater, after millions of years of evolution, it can lose its memory of its origin. So the soul could think that it is separated from its source. Now that is the danger point. When the soul wants to experiment in matter, as soon as it thinks that it is a dual nature, that is where the trouble begins. And so what we have to focus on right now, today, is that there is no such thing as duality. There is only one. There is you as God. There is God in you, and you to go back to God. And that's all that is. Everything else is a form of Maya, but it counts in the sense that you are initiated through the physical body, the mental body, the emotional body, the etheric body. And you have to eventually align these bodies, almost like if you have those, you know those colanders when you make a lot of pasta. You pour the water through the colanders, you got the holes in there. If you had 4 colanders and aligned the holes so that they were all perfectly lined up, that's what needs to eventually happen with the 4 lower bodies that you now wear. And when they are aligned, and then there's other things also to do, as we're going to go through tonight,
Yes.
you will start feeling a mastery over your physical body, your emotions, the mind, and the etheric body. So that is basically, and then again, I just want to reiterate that the most important part is thinking that there is duality, when in reality, there is no duality. So it is the reason that that happens to the soul is because of the misuse of free will, not free will in and of itself. Free will is a wonderful thing to have because you are not now robotic. You're not being commanded by a God who says, go out there and do this. You ask for free will. You want to go experiment in the realms of mater, and you expand and gain knowledge. And then when you go back to the source, you have transcended. God has transcended himself. It's only when you start misusing that free will and thinking that you're the God and that there is no God after that. And now you start building up the ego. You start building up what is known, the subconscious mind starts to think that it's something more than it is, and it starts to go from there. And that's where the soul can get into trouble. Now, the soul is fragile. It could be shocked easily by physical, emotional stress, mental issues. The soul, in some ways, is like a child, but you have to be in your higher mind and not treat it like a child. So when it wants to have its way, you have to rein it in and say, no, we're not going to do that today. We're going to align ourselves with the Atman. We're not going to allow the soul to drag us around where it wants to go, because it would have a tendency to do that. So there's a lot of talk about the inner child, and that is true. But just as a parent wouldn't want their little child dragging them where they want to go, the parent takes charge and says, I know I'll take care of your need. However, we have to focus and we have to do this. And that's what I'd like everyone to get out of this, is that the soul is very fragile, and it could be fragmented, and it could be shattered. And that starts to give you a little glimpse of why, when someone is in a very traumatic situation, war, for example, it shatters the soul, and it takes a long time for the individual to regroup and get that soul whole again. Did you have something else there that you wanted to?
I just wanted to point out that in the teachings of the Ascended Masters, the soul can be lost. In other words, if it's oppressed by the ego, if it's enmeshed in Maya or illusion, it builds up an anti-self, and that becomes the ego. Some esoteric groups will call that the dweller on the threshold. But it can self-destruct due to its own actions, the misuse of free will, wrong decisions. It actually can be annihilated. And this is something that is not necessarily known. So walking the path and constantly affirming oneness with the higher self, oneness with Brahman, oneness with Atman, the soul can be resurrected. The soul can eventually be resurrected, but it can actually be lost.
Right. So the last thing I'll say, because we do have to move on, the soul must evolve through the four lower bodies in order to become immortal. So it's currently mortal, and you want it to become immortal. So you could say something to yourself by saying, I am immortal, and remind the soul in the full authority of yourself as Atman that I am, God in me is immortal. And so when someone is self-realized as Atman, your whole consciousness change. And actually, there's a story about a soul that has realized himself as Brahman, and it's quite an interesting and funny story, and we're going to hear that by Elizabeth Clare Prophet, and is known as the elephant story. So we can play that.
Sometimes the novice on the path can take the idea of oneness with God to extremes. This is the story of a guru and his young Chela, told by Heinrich Zimmer. The guru had been instructing the Chela that everything is God. The Chela had a flash of realization. He said, God is the sole reality. That divine one may be found in everything. After his lesson, he left his guru and began to walk down the middle of the road in a state of contemplative bliss. Soon, a huge elephant came from the opposite direction. The driver riding on the neck shouted, "Clear the way!" The student saw the elephant, but he said to himself, "Why should I make way for that elephant? I am God. The elephant is God. Should God be afraid of God?" And he continued walking down the middle of the road. But when God came to God, The elephant swung its trunk around his waist and tossed him out of the way. He landed hard, but more shocked than hurt. Covered with dust, he returned to his guru and told him what had happened. The guru said, "Indeed, you are God. So is the elephant. But why did you not listen to God's voice calling to you from the driver who is also God to clear the way?" A fully realized God being would have had no problem stopping the elephant.
That's an amazing story. Now, I tried that here with a bison the other day, and I stood it in the face and I said, "Well, the bison's God, I'm God, move out of the way." He grunted and I ran. It doesn't work. I'm not there yet.
Yeah.
Now, we're going to go into the Vedas here.
The Vedas, as you all know, is the most basic and ancient Hindu scriptures. Hindu culture, religion, civilization are indigenous, and they were revealed thousands of years ago to the great rishis, or the sages, who received the Vedas in Sanskrit through hymns and devotional chanting. So a lot of scholars feel that the Rig Veda deals with primitive nature worship. But one of the authors that I follow, David Frawley, who wrote Gods, Sages, and Kings, has a total different interpretation of the Vedas. For instance, the Rig Veda has to do with the winning of the light and the winning of the waters. The god Indra must conquer the serpentine monster, Vitra, who is blocking the flow of the 7 rivers. Indra conquers Vitra and releases the waters to flow to the sea. Well, what does this actually mean? David Frawley states, Indra, the wielder of the thunderbolt, destroys the dragon who lies coiled at the feet of the mountain and thereby releases the 7 rivers to flow to the sea. But what does Indra really represent? The awakened mind, or the state of seeing. The dragon or the serpent is the kundalini, which lies at the base of the mountain of the spine. The 7 rivers are the 7 chakras, or yogic centers in the subtle body. The waters are the streams of bliss that flow from these.
I see.
So really, when you study the Vedas, the Rig Veda, you do have to realize it is symbolic, allegorical. For instance, one of the gods is Soma, which is the immortal nectar of bliss in the head, in the crown chakra. Agni is the kundalini, the flame at the base of the spine. Surya, S-U-R-Y-A, is the sun, is the consciousness of the self, the Atman, in the heart. So that is the basic idea. We're just briefly touching upon some of the symbolic manifestations of the Rig Veda. But in Hinduism, we have one consciousness, but many manifestations.
Right. So one God, one Brahman, but many manifestations. So one can say, how many gods are watching us right now? One. The answer would be one. But how many manifestations of God are watching us? Well, I don't know how many people might be out there, but every one of you is a manifestation of God. And this is a very important key. There is only one, but that one can manifest itself as many times as it chooses. So there are various Hindu gods, and we're going to be showing this. Right now we have some of the Hindu gods up here: Vishnu, Brahma, Shiva, Ganesh, Durga, Kali, Saraswati, Lakshmi. It doesn't matter whether they are male or female. It is a constant manifestation of the one God. It's actually very, very brilliant. And you have, as the gods that are in front of us here, the creator, Brahman, the preserver as Vishnu, and Shiva would be known as the destroyer. However, in various situations, like in the Ramayana, Vishnu, that is in the center of the table here, sent an incarnation of himself as Ram to destroy evil, portrayed by Ravana, to preserve. So sometimes there could be a certain clearing or a destruction of evil on a planet so that it can be preserved. And so it's a very interesting interplay between the three gods. And it's just amazing that you're able to walk and talk with these gods once they incarnate and personify themselves as anyone. And so the point here is that salvation is possible for all. Anyone and everyone can be saved in the sense of recognizing and realizing yourself that there is no duality, there is only one. Your individualized God presence. You don't have to wait for a God that's sitting somewhere in the corner of the universe, some anthropomorphic God, then you have to wait and talk to him and wait for he gets ready for you. You have God personalized in you right now today. So salvation is possible for all. And so the next story we have for you by Elizabeth Clare Prophet is going to illustrate this concept.
Hindus believe that salvation is available to all, but not everyone is ready for or desirous of salvation. They enjoy life on planet Earth, knowing it is temporal and full of pain and suffering. Sometimes people need a jolt before they become serious and one-pointed in their search for God. Though they experience the bliss of God when they are in heaven between embodiments, as soon as they are reborn, they become enmeshed in the illusory pleasures of the senses. Jyotirmayananda tells another story. Once Indra prayed to Vishnu and asked him why the people in the world lived in such pain and misery. Vishnu appeared to him and said, "These creatures are not ready to ascend to the heavenly abodes. They are happy where they are." Indra did not believe him. So Vishnu said, "I will convert you into a hog so that you will understand." Indra found himself in the form of a hog. Over time, he had a family with many piglets. He rolled in the mud, amusing the piglets with his play and fun. At that time, the sage Narada went to Indra to remind him of his essential nature. He said, "O Indra, you are not this hog. Don't you wish to return to heaven, where there are delights beyond one's expectations?" Indra said, "I remember the joys of heaven, but I see my beautiful children playing with me and kissing my mouth with their flat noses, and I forget about heaven." Narada spoke firmly. "O Indra, it is a pity that you have to revel in filth. Come back to heaven with me. I will restore you to your previous state." The hog replied, "O sage, do not disturb my innocent pleasures. I am not desirous of going to heaven, where I am not in the company of my piggy wife and my flat-nosed darlings, and where it is not possible to feed on the things that we find here on earth. Therefore, leave me alone." Narada then invoked Lord Vishnu, who, against the will of the hog, restored him to his previous state as Indra. Then Vishnu asked Indra, "Do you understand why these creatures are not taken to heaven?" Indra, ashamed, said, "O Lord, I understand my folly. Everyone is limited to one's vision. The mortals do not desire to attain heaven, so they keep themselves immersed in the little pleasures of the world, which are in fact painful and illusory." In the words of my beloved Guru, the Ascended Master El Morya, "Until men recognize the darkness, they do not reach for the light."
That's an amazing story.
And that's why it's also necessary to realize where we are in the state of suffering so that we can recognize it and go higher. But I wanted to make a point here about create, preserve, and destroy, but I couldn't get a word in edgewise because you were talking.
Oh, okay. Well, go ahead. Go ahead.
Hinduism, as we understand, is the creator, Brahma, preserver, and destroyer that we said. But I just also want to put in that according to the Puranas, the creation is actually a manvantara. It is an outbreath, the outbreath of evolutionary cycle. What is the evolutionary cycle? We can call it creation, but it's actually an unfolding of what is within, without. So in the manvantara, in the outbreath, the entire universe on all planes is manifested. When that cycle is fulfilled, we have pralaya, the in-breath or the involutionary cycle, and this is basically related to the destroyer or the dissolver. And then, after vast eons, another universe comes into being. But this applies to a planet, it applies to a solar system, it applies to a galaxy. The outbreath and the in-breath. And that's the Hindu.
That's very deep.
Yeah, it is.
We went from hogs kissing each other to something this deep. You got to stay with us. Okay, so let's continue here with Hinduism stressing the importance of having a guru.
Yes.
Go ahead.
Yes. We have the inner guru, we have the outer guru, but we're going to look at some of the great gurus. First of all, on the left with the yellow turban, we have the Master Maurya, the ascended Master Maurya, known as the Mahatma Maurya. In the days of Theosophy, he founded the Theosophical Society with the Master Kuthumi. We will be seeing the Master Kuthumi. And he also wanted to unify all the religions. The next master we have with the white turban is Chananda, who is the chief of the Indian Council of the Great White Brotherhood. And his retreat is in the Himalayas. And the retreat of Master Maurya is in Darjeeling, India, the Temple of Goodwill. Here we have, on the left, the Lord Maitreya, or the Buddha Maitreya. His retreat is also in the Himalayas, and he has been known by the Ascended Masters as the Cosmic Christ, and was, in fact, the teacher or guru of Jesus. The other master we see here, in the golden glow ray, is the Master Kuthumi Lal Singh, or the Master Kuthumi. He, with Master Maurya, also founded the Theosophical Society, and both masters worked very closely with the messengers, with Mark Prophet and Elizabeth Clare Prophet. So I think we have more teachers. And on the left is Sri Shankara, or Shankaracharya, the founder of what is known as Advaita Vedanta, non-dualistic Vedanta. The Vedanta is the end or the culmination of the Vedas. And Shankara states that the Atman and Brahman are one and you are Brahman, that we discussed. And he actually experienced and illustrated that. To the right is Babaji, who many of you know. And it so happens that Babaji initiated Sri Shankara, and Sri Shankara lived, we consider, in the 8th century AD. And Babaji is still existing today, and he's hundreds of years old, and he still looks like a youth. And moving on the left we have the great Sri Yukteswar in the white beard, who was the guru of Yogananda. And many of you know that these are great unascended gurus. So we know that Maurya and Kuthumi and Chananda are in the ascended state. Some gurus, as you know, forego the ascension for a while, and it could be for hundreds of years, so they can work more closely with mankind.
Right. And you mentioned the Great White Brotherhood, and I just want to clarify that the white in the phrase Great White Brotherhood refers to the magnificent white light of the seamless garment that the ascended masters wear. Now, the unascended masters can call that down at any time and dissipate their atomic structure and move about the planet at will. So White does refer to that magnificent
Yes.
body that is the pure, dazzling light of the presence. And so, you know, the crew, I told the crew before that we had everything ready, those slides and stuff like that.
Oh,
but
yeah, yeah.
I snuck this book on because
What?
well, we had Maitreya.
They
We
don't
had the
know
Guru
that?
Maitreya on.
Does the crew know
I
that you-
snuck it. No, they didn't know. Karma comes back very quickly in this situation.
Boy, does it come back.
When you disobey stuff. But I just had to get this in because the great Maitreya says this, and this is about becoming the self. It says, as you become more and more of your Christ self, or as the Atman, the Christ self becomes more and more of you, and you are becoming then an unascended master. The approximation is up to you. Time and space are not. Karma is Maya, illusion. Your holy Christ self, or the Atman, already knows this and is therefore free. It remains for you to see it and also be free. So it's up to approximate. When are you going to do that?
It's up to
It could
us.
be today.
It's up to
It
us.
could be 5 minutes from now. It could be 10 years from now.
Yeah.
You just have to do it right away. He's putting it up to you. The approximation is up to you. But I'll never do that again.
No, you
So
better
sneak
not.
something
You
on.
better not. We have enough karma. You got enough karma. You don't need any more.
Okay, so where are we here?
Well, we're here is how do we realize Brahman?
Okay, so how do we realize Brahman?
Well-
the other thing, wait, I wanted to say that how to also recognize a false guru,
True.
because there are many false gurus running around in India and here and thereabouts.
Yeah.
Usually the false guru will not explain to you that you have an inner guru and takes the attention off of him and places it on the inner guru, and that is your true guru, the Atman. Once a guru in physical embodiment or otherwise determines that you must follow them and that they have all the answers and never reflect back to you,
Yeah.
then that is a red flag.
Yeah.
Okay, I just wanted to say that.
Oh, good. Okay. No, it's very important.
So how
It's
do
very
we realize Brahman?
Well, we're getting to the path of yoga now because we're going to be mentioning the yogas. In the Hindu tradition, you realize Brahman through yoga. So the Sanskrit root of yoga is yuj, not use, to link, same as the English yoke. Now Jesus said, take my yoke or yoga upon you and learn of me. For my yoga or yoke is easy and my burden is light. So, 4 yogas. Jnana Yoga, Jnana, is the path of union with Brahman through knowledge. It relates to the mental body, but what knowledge? Knowledge of self as Brahman. Raja Yoga, the path of union with Brahman through concentration and meditation. This resonates with the etheric body. Bhakti Yoga, the path of union with Brahman through love and devotion, the emotional body. And finally, Karma Yoga, the path of union with Brahman through selfless work and service. Now, we are going to be doing these statements from Jnana Yoga with Elizabeth Clare Prophet, but I'd like to just go through what they actually mean. The Sanskrit in the first one is Tat Tvam Asi, thou art that. The second one is Aham Brahmasmi, I am Brahman. The third, I am Atma Brahma, this self is Brahman. Prajnanam Brahma, Brahman is the physical consciousness. I think we're ready to play.
Okay.
We're ready to play that.
Yeah. The words will be on the screen.
The words are on the screen, okay.
Now we're going to chant these affirmations. First, you will hear me pronouncing them, And then we'll just take up and all say them together.
Tattvam asi, 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 tattvam asi. Tattvam asi, tattvam asi, tattvam asi, tattvam asi, tattvam asi. Aham Brahma Asmi, 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 Aham Brahma Asmi. Aham Brahma Asmi, 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 Aham Brahma Asmi. Aham Brahma Asmi.
The next is this self is Brahman.
I am Atma Brahma. I am Atma Brahma, 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 I am Atma Brahma. I am Atma Brahma, 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 I am Atma Brahma. I am Atma Brahma.
The next is Brahman, is consciousness.
Pragyanam Brahma, Pragyanam Brahma, Pragyanam Brahma, Pragyanam Brahma, Pragyanam Brahma. Pragyanam Brahma, 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 Pragyanam Brahma. Pragyanam Brahma, Pragyanam Brahma, Pragyanam Brahma, Pragyanam Brahma.
The next yoga that we're going to discuss is Raja Yoga. Now, this yoga is described in the Yoga Sutras of Patanjali. The Yoga Sutras of Patanjali. He described yoga as the, quote, control of the thought waves in the mind, which is very difficult to do. There are 8 stages of Raja Yoga, including the pranayama, or breath control, and the final stage, absorption in the Atman. The highest stages of Raja Yoga is the Nirvikalpa Samadhi, the experience of samadhi where there is no separation between Atman and Brahman. Some of you know the beloved Sri Ramakrishna also went into this state of samadhi, and he did come out of it and also realized that there was no difference. There was only one consciousness. Now, Sri Shankara, describing the state of this highest nirvana, or samadhi, stated, quote, there is no longer any identification of the Atman with its coverings. See, you take the covering off, and what have you got?
Atman.
Atman. And the Master Saint Germain taught us way back in the 1930s to concentrate on the I Am presence, the Param Atman. This concentration, if engaged in, could actually lead to the highest samadhi. And you can say many statements like, I am the I Am presence. This self is the I Am presence. You can also say, I am everywhere in the consciousness of Brahman. And these could be repeated. So this is the concentration on the upper figure, the I Am presence, the self. We next go to karma yoga. Well, for those suited to action, selfless service without desire for reward or the fruit of action. When you get into a state of duality in the service in karma yoga, it's like I, the ego, I am doing something for you. I'm over here, you're over there, and I am doing something for you. And the I am here is not the self, the divine self. It's simply the ego.
So really what it should happen there is that God is helping God.
Yes.
That's the consciousness you're trying to get to.
Yes, yes.
Amazing.
God is helping God. Then we move to bhakti yoga, the yoga of devotion, and this is where many of the Hindus, thousands and millions, are devoted to either Vishnu or Rama or Shiva or Krishna or the consorts of Krishna, Radha, and many of the goddesses and so forth. Now, in the Bhagavad Gita, Sri Krishna discusses all 4 yogas. Now, Krishna, as you probably know, I think he passed on about 3,100 BC. And Rama was like 5,000 BC. He lived. In Bhakti Yoga, your first stage is basically a figure-8 flow between the devotee and, let's say, Sri Krishna. The second stage is where the devotee actually merges with the beloved, with this incarnation of Vishnu, for instance. So in Bhakti Yoga, and all of these 4 yogas are paths. Some people are more comfortable with Bhakti, others with Raja Yoga, others with Jnana Yoga, the yoga of knowledge of self as Brahman. But basically, it's really good to have certain...
You could do more than one, though. You can mix them up.
You can mix them up.
I've been trying to mix them up for years. Trying to do different things. But it's important in Bhakti Yoga, like he was saying, is that when you start to create that figure-8 flow between the soul and the incarnation of Vishnu, whether it be Ram or whatever choice, the soul starts to now recognize itself as not in a lower state. It will start to recognize itself as something other than being in Maya, and it starts to recognize and starts to be pulled up by magnetism to the heart, to where that Atman is.
Yes.
So were we going to do another
Yes.
bhajan?
We would like to now sing a bhajan to beloved Sri Krishna, but I wanted to explain. It's going to be Govinda Narayana, but Govinda is a name for Krishna, literally one who is pleasing to the cows and the senses. The inner meaning is that Govinda gives the pleasure that is higher than the pleasures of this world. The higher pleasure comes through communion with God. Narayana, one of the names of Vishnu. This is Vishnu as the supreme person, or the divine man, the divine that manifests in man. Gopala means the protector of the cows, a name of the youthful Krishna who lived among the cowherds in Vrindavan. Hari, H-A-R-I, is the dispeller of sins, and this is the name of Lord Krishna and Lord Vishnu, and of course, Ananda. We will be saying the word Ananda, which means bliss, the bliss of union.
Wow.
We will have that bhajan played now.
Govinda Narayana, Gopala Narayana. Govinda Narayana, Gopala Narayana. Govinda Narayana, Gopala Narayana. Govinda Narayana, Gopala Narayana. Govinda Govinda Narayana, Govinda Govinda Narayana, Govinda Govinda Narayana, Govinda Govinda Narayana, Govinda Gopala Narayana, Govinda Gopala Narayana, Govinda Gopala Narayana, Govinda Govinda Narayana, Govinda Govinda Narayana, Govinda Nanda Narayana, Hari Govinda Nanda Narayana, Govinda Narayana, Gopala Narayana.
It's a beautiful bhajan.
Beautiful bhajan to Krishna, absolutely beautiful.
Okay.
According to the teachings of the Ascended Masters, there is a very high yoga, or maybe the highest yoga. It's called Agni Yoga, the yoga of fire. This is done by mantra yoga, by the science of the spoken word, which is taught by the Ascended Masters, taught by the messengers of the Great White Brotherhood. Basically, Agni Yoga is the understanding that there is really no progress without spiritual fire, the invocation of spiritual fire. This comes through the invocation of the spoken word. Basically, an Agni Yogi should be a practitioner of all of the four yogas. Added to that is the spiritual fire, especially the violet transmuting flame, which is the most important mantra yogic practitioner to do. This practice of the spoken word, because the fire, you see, must be internalized. And if you see when you saw the lower figure in the chart before, it was surrounded by the violet transmuting flame. This is Agni, this is fire, this is in the west the Holy Spirit, in the east is Shiva. It's an extreme fire, but you must internalize it. But if you don't internalize it, and we've all gone through this, it creates a certain amount of stress. So it's becoming one with the fire, assimilating the fire, doing enough of the fire so that you become a fiery being. And in fact, cosmic beings actually need fire as well as we do.
Okay.
We're going
That's
to now
amazing.
practice
Let's do it.
a mantra called the violet flame. I am the violet flame. God in me is the violet flame. for the transmutation of karma and density.
I am the violet flame in action in me now. I am the violet flame to light alone I bow. I am the violet flame in mighty cosmic power. I am the light of God shining every hour. I am the violet flame blazing like a sun. I am God's sacred power freeing everyone. I am the violet flame in action in me now. I am the violet flame to light alone I bow. The violet flame in mighty cosmic power. I am the light of God shining every hour. I am the violet flame blazing like a sun. I am God's sacred power freeing everyone. I am the violet flame in action in me now. I am the violet flame to light alone I bow. I am the violet mighty cosmic power. I am the light of God shining every hour. I am the violet flame blazing like a sun. I am God's sacred power freeing everyone. I am the violet flame in action in me now. I am the violet flame to light alone I bow. The violet flame in mighty cosmic power. I am the light of God shining every hour. I am the violet flame blazing like a sun. I am God's sacred power freeing everyone. I am the violet flame in action in me now. I am the violet flame to light alone I bow. I am the violet flame in mighty cosmic power. Light of God shining every hour. I am the violet flame blazing like a sun. I am God's sacred power freeing everyone. I am the violet flame in action in me now. I am the violet flame in light alone I bow. I am the violet flame in mighty. I am the light of God shining every hour. I am the violet flame blazing like a sun. I am God's sacred power freeing everyone.
Wow, that was excellent. I needed the extra violet flame. That's why it went on. I was kind of acting up in the background here, and I had to clear up some of the density that I was currently engaging in again. So the violet flame, when you do this violet flame, you can visualize it over yourself, over a friend, over a circumstance, something happening in the world. You could place that violet flame wherever you want. So, you know, in our understanding, the highest path is the merging of the teachings of the Ascended Masters with the teachings of Hinduism. That's the one key missing ingredient, is the violet flame. And so the key also, of course, is Agni Yoga. It's the dynamic science of the spoken word, and invoking it can take you to heights that you have would never believe that you can get yourself to, along with all of the bhajans and various statements that we made today. It's very important. So we're almost ready to close here, and I'd like to remind everyone that we have the spiritual books.summitlighthouse.org. And you can see here, as we scroll through this, that there's a category for metaphysics and mysticism. I know there's at the top there, that goldish one is the one that we took our lecture from. Yeah. And there's one off to the right there, the green one is the Kabbalah. I'll be mentioning that really quick. And we can scroll down a little bit here. There's the Chila in the Path. That book was mentioned tonight. And there's your book again, Christian Conspiracy. They're always kind of sticking that one in there for you. All right, okay. And so this is a very important place to come to if you want to get more into mysticism of any kind.
You can make your ascension.
You can make your ascension in this life by the use of the violet flame.
Saint Germain has told us that you can actually make your ascension in this life by the continued use of the violet flame. And I'm repeating that, what he said, but because it's almost
a lot of things that I say.
Well,
and the other important point is that you only have to balance 51% of your karma, not the 100% of the old dispensation. So, the crew's asking us what the ascension is, but we're out of time. But the ascension, really quickly, I'm going to say, because you take too long, really quickly, the ascension is when you have the meshing of the soul to the Christ self, and they are bonded, and then that reunites with the I Am Presence, the Param Atman, the top figure that you saw before. That is the ascension in the light, and then you become an ascended master. So, thank you for joining us. We are the Makia Brothers. See you next time when we discuss the mystical understanding of Judaism and the Kabbalah. It'll be very interesting. So again, good night and good fortune on the path.
Hari Ananda Maya Jaya Narayana. Hari Ananda Maya Jaya Narayana. Sayanandamaya Jaya Narayana Sayanandamaya Jaya Narayana Vasudeva Nandana Radha Jivana Vasudeva Nandana Radha Jivana Paramananda Madhava Hare Paramananda Madhava Hare Anandamaya Jaya Narayana Hare Anandamaya Jaya Narayana Sayanandamaya Jaya Narayana Sayanandamaya Jaya Narayana Vasudeva Nandana Radha Jivana Vasudeva Nandana Radha Jivana Paramananda Madhava Hare Paramananda Madhava Hare Anandamaya Jaya Narayana Hare Anandamaya Jaya Narayana Sayanandamaya Jaya Narayana Sayanandamaya Jaya Narayana Vasudeva Nandana Radha Jivana Vasudeva Nandana Radha Jivana Paramananda Madhava Hare Paramananda Madhava Hare Anandamaya Jaya Narayana Hare Anandamaya Jaya Narayana Sayanandamaya Jaya Narayana Sayanandamaya Jaya Narayana Vasudeva Nandana Radha Jivana Vasudeva Nandana Radha Jivana Paramananda Madhava Hare Paramananda Madhava Hare Anandamaya Jaya Narayana Hare Anandamaya Jaya Narayana Sayanandamaya Jaya Narayana Sayanandamaya Jaya Narayana Vasudeva Nandana Radha Jivana Vasudeva Nandana Radha Jivana Paramananda Madhava Hare Paramananda Madhava Hare Anandamaya Jaya Narayana Hare Anandamaya Jaya Narayana Sayanandamaya Jaya Narayana Sayanandamaya Jaya Narayana Vasudeva Nandana Radha Jivana Vasudeva Nandana Radha Jivana Paramananda Madhava Hare Paramananda Madhava Hare Anandamaya Jaya Narayana Hare Anandamaya Sayanandamaya Jaya Narayana Sayanandamaya Jaya Narayana Sayanandamaya Jaya Narayana Vasudeva Nandana Radha Jivana Vasudeva Nandana Radha Jivana Paramananda Madhava Hare Paramananda Madhava Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna Krishna Krishna